Week 3 of the high school football season saw some close ones, some not so close ones, and one game that was for the ages down in Greenland. Hi, and welcome to Prep Rally. This is our recap show where we recap Friday's games. So let's start at Wildcat Stadium at Springdale Harbor, where the #1 Wildcats hosted Jenks, Oklahoma. Now, Jenks has been a regional power in this area for a long time, but they came into this game at 0-3. They went home 0-4 as Harbor rolled to a 29-0 win. That is the second shutout in as many weeks for the Harbor defense. The Wildcats are rolling, and they are off to their best start since 2010. Scotty Borderland, he covered that game for the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and let's see what Scotty had to say after the game.
I mean, schematically, our defensive staff does a fantastic job, and then the guys go out and execute, and they play hard. 3 big turnovers. We get points out of all of them. 2 of them are field goals. One's the big touchdown right at halftime, which was vital for us. So, I mean, I thought tonight came down about great defense, special teams, and an efficient offense.
Oh, no, it's not. He's going to go for it. Now steps up and is hit at the 50, and the ball's on the ground. Harbor's got it, and they're on the move. Defender at the 40. He's at the 30, at the 20. Knocked out of bounds at the 9-yard line. No, he scored.
Touchdown by the White House.
Over in Fayetteville, the Bulldogs hosted Dallas Bishop Dunn at Harmon Stadium, and the Bulldogs were looking to get a bounce back after a tough overtime loss the week before against Bryant. Well, it was deja vu all over again for the Bulldogs as they again lost in overtime 34-33. The hard luck Bulldogs, they are 1-2 heading into the 7A West portion part of their schedule. Mike Hapshaw was at that game Friday night. Let's go to Mike right here.
3rd and 7.
3 weeks in a row, Mike, our kids play their guts out, man. And, we're out-athleted, outmatched, however you want to call it. And our kids find a way to have a chance to win. And, I'm so proud of them. And
4th and 2, 11-13 to go in the 4th quarter.
Bentonville West and Springdale High were each looking to keep their perfect seasons alive as they went on the road last week. This was the first road trip for both teams, and West went over to Muskogee, Oklahoma. They fell behind early, but they rallied for a 43-35 high-scoring win in that game. Quarterback Will Jarrett, he was 21-27 passing for 317 yards to lead the Wolverines. They are off to a 3-0 start. Springdale went down to the River Valley to take on the defending 6A state champion Russellville, and Springdale, they did it again. They won their 3rd game in as many starts. They got a big second-half rushing performance from quarterback Lane Hutchins, and they were able to pull out a 31-28 road win again over the defending 6A state champ Cyclones down in the River Valley. So how about them Dogs? So we'll take a break right here. When we come back, we'll check in on the Rogers Mounties, who were also looking to go 3-0 as they were hosting St. Louis Normandy. So the Rogers High Mounties, they are one of the youngest teams in the area this year. They are starting a lot of sophomores. In fact, Coach Mike Lloyd joked early in the summer when he said, we not only have one JV team, but we have a second junior varsity team, but it's playing on the varsity schedule. So the Mounties, very, very young, starting a lot of sophomores, but they kept their perfect streak alive going into the season. They won their 3rd game. As many starts, they absolutely hammered St. Louis Normandy 42-0 on Friday. So the Mounties 3-0. Paul Boyd covered that game for the NWADG.
And a lot of kids showed up and did, they had some good athletes, and just enough to kind of worry you, but I think our defense is getting better. We made some plays, and we did. We took care of business. You're 3-0 with a young football team, and at one time I counted about 12, 13 sophomores and 6, 7 juniors out here. So, again, I think we're going to get better and better in the future, and I think
Bentonville was riding high after it rallied in the second game of the season against Bixby, Oklahoma. Remember, they fell behind 21-0 and then came back and scored 5 straight touchdowns in that game to win. But the Tigers were not able to sustain that momentum in their home opener Friday night, and they fell to Conway 35-16. So the Tigers are 1-2 after that loss. Henry Apple covered that game for the NWADG.
It's extremely disappointing that our kids, aren't necessarily playing at the level that we need to play at to win, and that's our responsibility to fix that. So it's disappointing. It's truthfully unexpected. I mean, I credit Conway. I think they're a way better football team than people give them credit for, but we didn't help much tonight.
All right. So down in the River Valley, there were also a couple of big games on Friday night. The last maybe meeting in a long time, who knows, we'll see. But Alma and Greenwood, they've been longtime rivals, and they are not going to schedule each other for the next couple of years. So they met Friday night over in Alma, and once again, it was all Greenwood as the Bulldogs rolled to a 54-28 win. A little farther down I-40, down in Ozark and Charleston, they put on a nice show down there in a big non-conference game. Charleston, they ended up winning that game 42-28. Braden Cottle, their quarterback for the Tigers, had 4 touchdown passes in that game, so a big road win for the Charleston Tigers. Pea Ridge had not played a game since the first week of the season. They played 2 games that first week. In fact, 2 games within 5 days and won both of them. So they'd been off for a long time. And they were a little rusty to start the game, but the Blackhawks picked it up in the second half. Defense was outstanding the entire game, and Pea Ridge rolled to a 24-7 win over Farmington at home on Friday. Here's the video from that game.
You guys are 3-0 going into conference play next week. Do you like where you are?
Yes, sir, and I do like, because we're not playing real good football. I feel like we're not playing really good football yet, and I really don't want to play really good football yet. It's a long process, and we've got to develop some of our kids, some of our younger kids a little bit more before we get into the heat of our conference.
So we saved the best for last. So down in Washington County Friday night, Greenland and Gentry, 2 teams looking to make some noise this year and looking for a big spark in this non-conference game heading into conference play next week. Of course, Greenland will be in the 3A1 conference, Gentry in the 4A1 conference, and what a game it was. This game went back and forth the whole night. And the game was not decided until the final minute of play when Greenland pulled off an old hook and lateral pass. That's when you throw the little pass out to the flat, and then that guy who catches it tosses it to a trailing back, and he carries it the rest of the way. The play worked, set up a final touchdown, and Greenland beat Gentry 76-71 Friday night. This is one of the highest scoring games ever played, and here is actual video footage of the fans during that game. So it was back and forth like that the whole game. So Greenland did end up pulling out the win, 76-71. That's the highest scoring game ever played between two Northwest Arkansas teams. It's the second highest total that we're talking about in regulation, not in overtime. The second highest point total in state history. So what a game. John Falkenberry, the Gentry quarterback, ran for 7 touchdowns and passed for 2 more and had 2 touchdowns called back in that game. So what a game. So that's it for this edition of Prep Rally. We appreciate you watching us. We will have a show later in the week where we will preview the Week 4 games. Remember, this is conference play. It all starts for real this Friday night. We'll see you next time on Prep Rally.